Just quickly say again, I'm Susan Lindsay, Portland State University Intensive English Language Program, and my co-host for the presentation is?
Hi, everybody. I'm Eowyn Ferey. I'm the interim director of the Intensive English Language Program at Portland State University. Thanks for being with us today.
And we're very glad to welcome you too. He's going to bring in people while I try to drive the car here. And let me get my screen share going.
What is happening?
I know, that's what's happening. Here we go. Here we are. This is what we're doing today. Here we are. Where does ESL fit in diversity, equity, and inclusion goals? And this is kind of the blurb that was in the program, as you see. And we're just going to do a brief overview of our outline today. We're going to do some opening introductions. We're going to talk about kind of why we chose this topic, how we got here. We're going to do a little bit of a jam board, and then we're going to get people, because this is really a discussion workshop. Okay, we're going to get people into breakout rooms, and we're going to have people talk about these questions. How you feel you and your students have been included in DEI? How much is your administrative leadership recognizing linguistic bias with DEI goals? Have you and your students been impacted by linguistic bias or felt excluded in DEI? And how do you envision it going forward? So that's a little bit, and then we'll come back together and we'll have some reports and recap and go back to any information that's on the Jamboard. So the first part, let me stop the share and just sort of talk to you directly. Okay, again, I'm at Portland State University, and in the, the pandemic happened in the spring of 2020. And George Floyd was murdered. And our university president, Steve Percy, became very, very inspired by the uprisings that were taking place all over the country, and in particular in Portland, around the issues around racial injustice, and really wanted to move. I mean, the university was already kind of wrapped around issues around diversity, but really wanted to kind of double down on the issue and make changes. And so that started to take place. And in fact, a little bit of car driving here. And where'd the Zoom window go? Ruh-roh. Hold on, we got to find the Zoom window. There you are. Okay, well, we won't share. We'll just talk. A little too hard. Anyway, the university, and you can find this by going on to pdx.edu, the university really got invested in wanting to make a change, and has an office of global diversity and inclusion, global equity, diversity, and inclusion, and made a very strategic plan around how the university was going to make changes on every policy, every mission that they did, every way that they looked at things. They were going to do something related to diversity, equity, and inclusion. Well, at the same time, because of the pandemic, our student population numbers crashed, right? The airlines were shut down, people weren't traveling, everybody was staying home, and our enrollment went way down. And the university decided to implement a program, a little part of a kind of a subclause of the collective bargaining agreement called retrenchment, where they were able to make an argument that our program, the Intensive English Language Program, was hurting the university in certain ways, and that they were going to kind of decimate it. And so they went through this lengthy process where they kind of showed how we weren't making any money and how we needed to be cut back. And then through the end of this process, they ended up cutting half of our faculty and sending those faculty to the unemployment lines. And of course, there was a lot of resistance. But for me, what was maddening about it was that they were targeting specifically, no other programs, no other units on campus at that time, specifically our program. At the same time, they were endlessly talking about their commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion. And we're kind of like, what do you think we do? What do you actually think we do? So this was very upsetting to me. And, and talk a little bit about your involvement with the Writing Council and your efforts there.
Sure. So is the sound okay for everybody? Great.
Yes.
So as part of the retrenchment process that Susan referenced, there's a time for the university community to weigh in with comments and suggestions and so on about how those impacts will be felt, not just within the unit, but throughout the campus. And so as a member of PSU's University Writing Council, the Writing Council wrote a very strongly worded letter to the president and to the provost, imploring them to understand how issues of linguistic bias are directly tied to issues that are of concern to those working with diversity, equity, and inclusion, and imploring them to, instead of seeing the faculty of the IELP as having a mission so narrowly construed as to be serving only international students who don't yet have demonstrated language proficiency for admission to the university, being creative and thinking of ways that we can support the university in its laudable mission to do better in terms of diversity, equity, and inclusion by understanding linguistic bias as a part of that. And unfortunately, although we don't know what conversations happen behind closed doors, we have not as yet, a year and a half later, had a substantive response from our administration, although we continue our work. Thanks, Susan.
Thank you. And so at the same time, though, they continue to talk about their commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion. So anyway, this was the impetus to us putting this workshop together, because we found it really maddening, and we were wondering how this was taking place in your institutions too, whether you were seeing the same thing going on. At this point now, I think we wanted to give you guys already, all right, hold on, I'm grabbing the car, an opportunity to this is the Jamboard E, which you're going to lead us through.
Okay. So did you drop that in the chat?
Did I drop the link to the Jamboard in the chat?
Yeah, so I'm going to do that right now.
Yeah,
so we set up a Jamboard to sort of, before we break into smaller groups, we thought that it would be constructive to do a little bit of group thinking about what we're all bringing at the inception of the conversation to this topic. And so you should all be able to see a link to Google Jamboard. And if you want to follow that, you would be able to not only see, and Susan is screen sharing, on your campus have there been discussions of DEI. If you haven't used Jamboard before, the way that we've got this set up is, oh, Susan, can you go back to page 1? Mm-hmm. Thank you. Mm-hmm. We've conceptualized this as just one where you can use some sticky notes. And so the first one is meant to get a snapshot of where everyone who's present is in terms of what's happening at your institution with relationship to DEI. And you can use the sticky note function. If you're not familiar, that's on the left side of the screen. You're going to click on it's the middle one, and you'll get a little box like what you can see here. You can choose your color, and then you can answer. And this, of course, is intentionally designed as a yes/no question. If you want to elaborate a little bit more, you can. We wanted to give folks a chance to practice first.
It's a view only doc.
Oh no. Now I promise you we did our homework and went through and tried to make sure that everything was set properly. So let me check that right now. Thank you. Why is that the case? Okay, I see anyone with the link. Copy link.
I think while we're doing this, if people would like to change their names, rename themselves while we're waiting to fix the Jamboard, or how to rename yourself, you could rename yourself with where you are teaching, if you are actively teaching right now, or where you're an administrator. It'd be great to kind of get a sense from where people are from. And I can do that too, I think.
Okay. Oh, I see. Viewer. Here we go. I just realized my mistake. I had it as viewable to everybody, not editable by everybody. It should be good now. Thank you.
So we're supposed to be able to manipulate this
You go
Yeah,
over
so-
here and you click
Mhm.
this little,
box.
click
There
the
you go.
sticky note, and then you
Okay.
write on the sticky note, yes, and you can write yes or no.
That's you. Okay, that's you writing.
Yeah,
Okay, that's
correct.
good. So I
Uh-huh.
should be able to do the same thing from my end.
You should,
Correct.
yeah.
correct.
So I'm
that
gonna
was-
go
Correct.
this sticky
Because like
note.
somebody just, you guys
There
can
we
do that,
go.
and then you can move them around as you want. You just sort of grab them and move them around like that.
Mine's not working. Let's see. So click the sticky note.
There you go.
There we go.
There you go.
Okay. It's all happening.
Mine still says just view only. I'm not able
Yeah,
to.
mine's not doing. I
Try-
am clicking.
Try refreshing. You may need
Refresh
to
your hand.
refresh it.
Let's try it again.
Oh,
Hello, there we go. We got a hello. That was my first one that I ever did.
Now I click it once, nothing happens. If I double click it, it just minimizes my screen.
Hmm.
I don't know what's happening.
So are you on the, Tony, was that you speaking?
Yes. Mhm.
Yeah, so on the left side, you see that vertical menu with all the tools, the pen, the
Yes.
eraser,
Mhm.
all of that. Okay, so
Right.
try clicking on the sticky note.
Yeah,
It looks
from where
like-
I am, I should be able to just click on it. So maybe is there some kind of setting on my end that's prohibiting? I'm not. So
Yeah,
I'm clicking on, does it click and drag? It doesn't drag.
it should just be a click.
Just
Doesn't-
kind of click on it. Click sticky note. There it is. And
That's
you
not
click-
me though.
That's me. 'Cause
Okay.
I'm screen sharing. But if you go over there to the left, there's like a pen,
You
and then there's like
on?
something like a leaning tower pizza, and then an arrow, and then the fourth
Yeah,
one.
I definitely see the icon, but nothing is happening when I click it.
No.
For whatever reason. So I
Did you
don't know.
try, Tony, did you refresh?
I hit
using that?
escape.
Try
So-
that, try going up to the URL navigation bar and hit that, the little half circle with the arrow, refresh it and see if that solves the problem.
Up here.
Yeah, I see. I'm on it wouldn't matter the operating system I'm on. That shouldn't make any difference. I don't know why I can't.
It
Press escape,
shouldn't.
double clicked. Yeah, it shouldn't. I don't know what's going on. It's strange. I can see everything. Here's my mouse. Let me see. Here, so I'm gonna share. You cannot start shares. Oh, okay. So I can't do my screen share.
Well, you could write your answer in the
In the chat? Yeah.
There
I'll
you
do
go.
that.
Let's do
I don't-
that.
I
Write
don't know
your
what's
response
happening.
in the chat, because we're gonna move on to the next slide.
There we go.
Okay, so
I
I'm
could have just
seeing a
told you that though.
a lot of people, yes, have been having these discussions, and people are getting ideas about, yes, they're starting to want to be involved in committees, and not necessarily, and I said, of course, not related to ESL work. Okay, let's go to the page 2. What does it mean to you? We thought we'd throw this out before we get you in the breakout rooms, thinking like, what does it sort of mean to you?
And if anyone is having technical problems still with the Jamboard, if you'd like to just respond in the chat, I think we'll save the
Yeah.
chat transcript and
Right.
those can be added to the Jamboard afterwards so that they'll be part of the session record.
So part of the, the idea of this conference was really focused on teaching tips or things that you can use in your classroom too. So that was one of the reasons also we wanted to involve the Jamboard, because the Jamboard is one of the Google tools and very easy to use that you can get your students involved with too. Thanks for writing in the chat there.
Sorry, yeah, it's still not working. It's strange. Oh.
And I think, Susan, I want to just flag the time we should
Yeah,
move
we're
into.
gonna go on. We're gonna get going now. Okay, so we are going to now, I'm gonna stop the share. Feel free to still add things in the Jamboard as you go along, right? You have access to it. And now we're gonna get us into the breakout rooms. We have a set of questions that I'm going to send to everyone. Give me just a moment here to be able to do that. Not to make excuses, but I am working with a loaner computer because my computer died.
So while
Okay.
and while Susan's doing that, I know we're making our transition, but so what we wanted to share with you today is that she's had computer troubles, so she's dealing with a Mac, and I've been diagnosed with COVID for the first time this past week. So we are doing our best.
We're a fun team. I've never used a Mac in my life, and I'm using a Mac on this, and I'm like, oh wait, you don't do it that way, you do it this way. So there's a little. Anyway, I've sent out the questions there into the chat, so everybody should be able to open that and look at that. And I preview those. Let's get us into the breakout rooms. I'm seeing that we've got 14 people in the room, so let's assign automatically, and let's make, how do you want to do this, E? Make 4 rooms then?
Well, I think if we make 2 rooms, Susan, because there's also you and me and your Mac, and that just puts us slightly over the optimal number. And then
Oh, that's right. Okay, then I'm
Yeah.
going to assign into 2 rooms, and I'm going to assign manually. All right, we'll do it that way. That's very good. And then I'm just so that I am in a separate room from E.
So we designated, or we'd hope for about 20 minutes together in these breakout rooms. I think we're probably coming in a little bit less than that, but that gives you a sense of, we're all teachers, or most of us, I think, are teachers here. That gives you a sense of the time to devote to each of these. And I think any of the questions could probably occupy us for a full 20 minutes. But, proceed as whatever works organically with the group that you're
Okay, here we go to our rooms.
with. So did we make it back before they did?
Yeah, it's funny when you saw one language American. Yes, but yes
and no.
and no, right? Because like
Yep.
we have this long strip of continent, and it's
Yep.
isolated, separated by an ocean and 50 states, and everybody speaks the same language, although very different dialects, right? And accents. And have the same currency, and so it's not like that in Europe. Like, you can backpack to another country and you're in a different culture with a different language and a different currency. So we don't have the geography. You don't actually have the physical geography to have that kind of multicultural exchange and diversity. And then it's not taught in school. If you're serious about teaching language and multiculturalism, then introduce it in kindergarten, like the other countries, especially if they're in good schools or educated, they're getting language from elementary straight on up. By the time they are adults or whatever, they've had years and years of English language. We don't have that opportunity. We get introduced to Spanish maybe, or French in
high school. Yeah, I can tell you. My husband is, as I like to, French from France, and we took the girls back this last summer, and we're talking to his relatives. Every place we went, well, at what age do they start studying languages? And it's like, well, maybe high school or never, and they're stunned.
Yeah.
I grew up also somewhere else, so we started in 2nd grade,
right?
And then 5th grade we had to have 2 foreign languages. We could choose from several, all the way to high school, and then college also was a required 2-year foreign
Uh-huh.
language. But
Yeah.
again, nobody speaks Hungarian, so in the world, so it was
Right.
kind of essential.
You know, I have a student in my class right now who's German and speaks German, Hungarian, and English.
Wow.
It's very interesting
cool.
because I think he's among the first that I've met now.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah, like the Swiss, the Canadians,
Mhm.
lots of other, yeah, African countries, multilingual. Yeah.
A lot more.
Okay, well, I think we're all back now. Our group wasn't quite able to get through all of the questions, but maybe Eowyn, could you give a report from your group? Would you be able to, or did somebody from your group want to report?
I'm happy to, unless someone from the group, Laura or Tony, you're welcome to. You were both active at it.
Take it away, Lauren.
Well, we, like your group, Susan, did not get through all of the questions, but we touched on a lot of the issues. And I think that the thing that surfaced the most for me was the gulf between sort of the rhetoric and what is being said about what the values are and the actions that are taking place, which sometimes seem to stand in contrast to those ideals. And I'll stop there in case someone else from the group wanted to lift something else up from the conversation. And then we'll pass it over to you, Susan.
Okay, well, we had a great group. Arnold, it turns out, is a tutor at the library and has really been doing hands-on work during the pandemic, helping people with wanting to improve their English skills. And oh, I can't see the names. Oh, there, Linda is a member of the Ortisal board and getting involved in that. And what I think what we're able to see a little bit is a continuation of there. Probably Portland might be a little bit of a standout, especially Portland State, with how far it's gone with embracing this concept of DEI, at the same time not necessarily understanding that it goes beyond just that local or national view of race relations in America, that it really does filter down to what we're talking about with the work that we do with assisting people who have come here from other countries and are either coming here to study or that are coming here to live. Maybe they're refugees, maybe they're immigrants. And we want to be able to assist them. And at the same time, we want them to have those strong voices, despite what might be seen as a linguistic bias. I mean, we heard that at the plenary this morning where the speaker talked about teaching and that the students wanted an American teacher, right? And it's kind of behooves us all, if our administration isn't doing the job, it behooves all of us to be helping to get the message out there that there is no perfect English, and that we want to do is we want to strengthen people's ability to have those voices and to be able to be advocates for their own communities and their own lives. I mean, that's the work that we do. That's right. EDI. I kind of like EDI. I like that. I'd never heard of EDI, and I actually like that better because I think it brings us together more in the beginning rather than DEI, which seems to kind of set us apart a little bit from the beginning. So very glad that all of you came here. Now I think this ends. I'm a little.
You're right. You're right on time. Yeah.
Right on time. Okay.
Right on time. So.
Right on time. Good. Okay. We have something to flash at you. Then I think that we wanted to flash the Jamboard. Isn't that right?
Okay.
My esteemed co-conspirator here. Here we go. Here's the Jamboard again, because we had a slide here at the end that had to do with sharing your contact information and this little funny little thing that E put in. Will you want to explain to people what this is and where does it go?
Yeah, Yeah, so I put together a list of further readings. If this is a topic that, for some of us, we're relatively new to engaging with it, or perhaps you've engaged with it in certain ways, but there are things that you heard today that you sort of went, that's interesting. I haven't really thought about that. So this is not, this is just a list of further reading, and specifically readings that focus on, I would say broadly, like what we lose when we don't consider linguistic diversity as valuable. And it comes from a number of different perspectives, both multilingual speakers who are internationally based and those who speak so-called dialects here in the United States. So if there's something there that that looks interesting to you, I hope that you'll dive in. I've tried to make it a mix of books and shorter articles. So I hope you'll enjoy.